Yeah, I just think it's good practice. That way it lets all the public know why we're going into executive close.
Better be.
We have no public comments. And, are we good back there? Okay. Call this meeting to order. We good? I didn't get a sign. Do we have any public comments? Okay, if not, can we have the roll call?
Ms. Temple,
Here?
Dr. Redis.
Here.
Ms. Walkum.
Here.
Mr. Zakreski.
Here.
Ms. Parson West.
Present.
Ms. Williams.
Here.
And Mr. Steele.
Here.
Thank you.
Executive closed session per North Little Rock School District Policy 1.14, stating that private or closed discussions by the board may occur as part of a regular or scheduled board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purpose of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment, if requested by a parent or legal guardian. No resolution, agreement, or motion considered in the executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in public session and presents the item for vote of the membership. So would y'all like to go to executive session?
Yes, ma'am.
move on to employment of personnel.
Madam President and members of our board, action item 4.1, the employment of personnel. The superintendent recommends the employment of personnel as discussed in executive closed session.
Second.
I need a motion, please.
Madam President, I so move that we accept the employment of personnel that Dr. Paluski just suggested.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Madam President, members of our board, action item 4.2, the North Little Rock School District Resolution for Safety Guidelines during COVID-19 pandemic for 21-22. The superintendent is recommending a mask requirement, mandating masks immediately in order to begin to start the next school year. That is,
All right, Madam Chair, I got a motion, and I'd like to make a quick little statement. So I move that we adopt the
I've got a
North Fork.
question whenever you,
Okay. You can ask your question before I make my motion. That's
Well,
fine.
we can make the motion and have a
And then-
discussion.
Okay.
we can make a motion.
All right,
and I'll ask.
I move to adopt the North Little Rock School District Resolution for Safety Guidelines during COVID-19 pandemic 2021, 2022.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any discussion, any questions?
if I
Yes, I
may,
have a-
Madam President, just so you're aware, we do have Nurse Green that's here. We also have Nurse Slaughter here from the Health Department. If they wish to come forward and just, before you get in discussion, to give you, I wanted the Health Department to come and just to give some current data, kind of what's happening in the North Little Rock area as it relates to the Delta virus as you begin your discussion.
Good evening. Is it on? Okay. So I just really wanted to go over our numbers for a district as a whole, just in the last couple of days that staff have come back on campus. So as of right now, we have 15 positive in the district and 29 quarantined. And that's been the last 3 days. It really started on Monday. So I just wanted to kind of bring those numbers out. And I do know I've been out in several buildings. Many of our staff members are wearing masks, and, you know, makes me very, very happy to see that. So also, Pulaski County
Can I ask you-
yesterday,
For clarification on that, were those all employees? So no kind of holdover from our summer school students?
no.
Zero?
Those,
Great.
yes, everybody from summer school and everything, it has started on Sunday, Monday, and on.
Of this week,
Thank
which has
you.
been up from, we were in single digits
We
even
were in single digits, yes.
a week ago.
So in Pulaski County, yesterday, our numbers for Pulaski County was 356 positives. I know our ICU bed situation is very critical. I want to say it was 3 the last time I had heard. Is that still correct?
As far as my knowledge.
As far as our knowledge, which is a very critical situation.
Are you done? Are you done?
You can ask, yes. Go ahead.
Well, I have a statement. I didn't know if anybody had any questions for them,
Yeah,
or
I still have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Just for clarification, and either to you or the superintendent, I look here under exceptions that are followed, and I know what we did last year. I did not see it really fully explained about such things as volleyball, which I know very hard to social distance, and
Correct.
guess I saw, seems like they did a great job in Tokyo and the Olympics, and also while you're answering that, if you can address football as well. I didn't see
That is all going to
exception.
come under the AAA rules, and I have looked at them, but they have not been out there. I don't think they've updated theirs from last year. They're pretty much still the same. It recommends that they wear a mask except for while playing.
Correct, and that has been our stance. We're going to continue with what we've been doing last year. Certainly if they're playing the sport, to be able to take that off, but I'm recommending that we stay the course at least till school gets started. We kind of see the impact of this as we move forward.
So would that also include the travel restrictions and so forth from last year? Because I know that there may be games scheduled, trips scheduled, and so forth,
Sure. And,
anticipating when, you know, things were better, and now that they've made a turn, how are we addressing that?
Yeah, and thank you for that, Mr. Steele. My stance is to remain what we kind of finished last year with. I know we did provide limited amount of travel. So for an example, as students traveled, and that was allowable under the AAA guidelines. I am recommending, or have directed staff not to do field trips at the beginning of this school year until we see the impact. Remember, the guidelines do also say to be very, very mindful of super spreader events. So my direction is really out of an abundance of caution, and that comes back to our data knowing that the number of students that we have vaccinated, 12 to 18, is 1%. We anticipate that's higher. So all of this, in my professional opinion, is out of an abundance of caution until we start the school year.
I think it would be good if we even made a public statement before people make plans to attend games, both volleyball and football. We could let them know a certain number of people will be allowed. I guess if we're going by last year's AAA rules, will be allowed actually in the stadium or in the gymnasium.
Yes.
I think everyone knows pretty much about the mass, but the numbers.
In the
numbers.
capacity. And I think we were talking with Coach Davis about that, because last year we had away visitors and home visitors, how many that we could. We're still going to keep that in
Same
place.
thing.
We'll be happy
Good.
to communicate that. And again, as we go through the season, if we feel that we can open that up to more, we certainly want to be able to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Does that include the actual games, the people that are coming to the games? Are masks going to be mandated as well?
Correct.
So when you come to the football game,
Right,
even
because
though
as it says, it's in any school facility.
okay.
Oh, Madam Chair,
Wait a minute,
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I wanna say that outdoors, they do not have to mask.
That's why I was
That is
asking about
optional.
the,
Excuse me. Thank you for that.
that's why I was asking about the football games. When you come to the game, you don't have to have.
Because it is outdoors.
It's
and
recommended,
It's recommended.
It's recommended.
but you won't have to. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
But Ms.
can I
Yes,
speak now?
yes, Ms.
Oh, what I wanted to say, Dr. Palusi, when we're looking at this, would you explain the way you have been explaining about in the process, we making changes later as we look at the things? Would you explain that, please?
Yes, ma'am, I'd be
From
happy
this
to.
document that you
So
presented?
our document does not have a time limit in which we would say in 30 days or 60 days that we're going to come back and reevaluate this. I believe our stance or my recommendation is that we leave that open, because we're going to monitor this every day. And at any point, let's say in 15 days, and working with our health department, because remember, our resolution says we're in collaboration with our local health department. If we feel in 15 days we can now go to optional masks, we'll be happy to do that. Or we don't have to mandate masks at all, but it gives us the flexibility, and certainly me as a superintendent, to continue to monitor and update you. And I think it's just best not to put any time frame on that.
All right, Madam Chair. I just got a few things to say. I feel confident we're going to do the right thing tonight. I've had feedback, as I assume all of us had, emails, phone calls, social media. The vast majority of it's been positive. They want to see this happen. But not everybody feels that way. And so I felt like I just needed to justify my vote. I'm not speaking for the rest of the board, but I'm voting for this for two reasons. The first is for public health. It's our job to keep our kids safe. There are students, everybody talks about this under 12. Well, there are people 12 and older that can't get the vaccine for different reasons. We need to protect them. We've got doctors at the national, state, and local level, and I put something out on social media today, and I didn't want to name specific doctors, but we've seen a lot of this stuff being shared by local, highly respected doctors that all say it works. Masking works and vaccines work. So just from a public health standpoint, I feel like we have to protect our population. Second point, even if I didn't believe masks worked, I would vote for this. And the reason is, as we discussed in the last meeting, masks stop contact tracing. If both students are wearing masks and a student test positive, the other student doesn't have to quarantine if they don't start showing symptoms. That's still correct, right?
That is correct.
So if patient 0 gets sick, it's possible, if we were doing the right thing, that no other students are required to quarantine and we keep our numbers under control. And everybody wants to keep the schools open. So even if I were a person who didn't think masks did any good, I would vote for this to keep the schools open. It is critical that we do that and we keep kids in school, because we all want that. So I do understand there are arguments against it, and I respect them, but I feel like we need to do the right thing. I don't want to infringe on anybody's rights, but we're here to create a safe and secure place for our kids to learn and for our employees to work. That's all.
Nurse, I got
Yes.
a question to ask you. I'm not trying to scare any teachers to doing the right thing or whatever this is America, as I said last week. A teacher has COVID, can go in the classroom, and a student catches COVID or maybe even lose their life. You know, that stayed on my conscience. And I'm just putting it out there. And I wish that they would think, you know, whatever their beliefs are, it's fine with me. But North Rock School District is still obligated to care for our children. Thank you.
One more question. It's a pretty big deal. JT, I think you made some great points. One point, and I see a colleague there at the health department, I know you were jotting it down, and said that some people cannot get the shot. And I didn't know if you meant that was for health reasons or access reasons. That's number one. And my second question is, with parental consent, can we provide shots at the schools?
So we've set up, and I'll let them talk about that we have multiple clinics that are scheduled.
We have 4 clinics that are coming up. Our first clinic is on the 13th on campus, and then the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And that is at the high school, middle school, and academy.
So
And-
does that parental consent have to be before they
Yes.
take the shot?
Yes,
And it can't
The-
be provided at school?
yes.
So is there a time period after they receive the shot where you are going to see if they're okay, have a negative reaction?
Typically, most people are 24 to 48 hours after. They may feel just like flu-like symptoms, their joints kind of hurt, they may run a fever. Typically, it's a quick 24 to 48 hours.
Great.
And they will get a piece of paper that will have where they can sign up. If they have any reactions, they just text, tell what kind of symptoms they're having, and it logs it into a database.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think I'm done.
And Nurse Slaughter, would you just remind the public about what we're working on with the health department in order to provide testing in our schools?
So, the health department, we had our POC meeting today. The health department can provide us with rapid test kits. I know there's a limited number. And the rapid tests, are they PCRs or, no, they're just your rapid, or the antigen tests. And they can create typically a negative, can possibly be a positive. A positive is typically always positive. So I'm working with NSL, which is Natural State Laboratories, on getting the PCR testing into schools. I actually asked that in our meeting today, that if we already have a MOU with them already, so we would be able to just bring in all of the technology and stuff and be able to start doing it. But it is gonna be kind of a process, because we do have to have a medical doctor. They have a medical doctor, but we'll have to do kind of like telemedicine. When a student comes in or a staff member, they will have to speak to this physician or nurse practitioner. Then they will say, yes, need to order it. We'll have to call a parent, get consent, everything's signed, and then we'll be able to do the testing. And all the nurses will be able to do that. So that is what I am working on. It may take me a month or so before we get everything lined out.
Is that Pfizer?
The Pfizer vaccine is the one that we're giving, yes.
So they have to get 2 shots?
there will be 2 shots. There will be 2 clinics.
Once you have that in place, is it possible to go ahead and get parental consent, like send something out and do that? So if a
Yes.
student walks in one day, you've got it on file, you can run the test?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that'd be great.
Kinda
That way
like
you're
how
not
we
chasing
send-
a parent.
Yes, how we send home medication forms, we can send stuff home and everything.
Great. We're ready for a vote?
So, everybody said their piece? Yes, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, members of our board. Thank you, Nurse Green. Thank you, Nurse Slaughter. Madam President, members of our board, our last action item is 4.3, Student Dress Code Amendment. This is just a slight amendment to our dress code policy, and I'll have my colleague, Mr. Stone, refer to that. It's just some language change as it relates to.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, Dr. Paluski. Tonight, I'll bring to you just a slight amendment, as Dr. Paluski alluded to, on the first bullet item. Open-toed shoes, sandals, and slides are prohibited for students in grades K through 8th. And that's the amendment that we would like to make on tonight.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the dress code amendment on the open-toed shoes, sandals, and slides prohibited for students kindergarten through 8th grade.
Second.
Okay, moving properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair,
Thank you.
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. Thank you, Madam President, members of our board. Thank you. Just keep it in my folder.
Prayers for your family.
Huh?